Welcome to First National Bank's Coach's Corner with Tony Tone and Muscatine High School football coach Jake Mueller. Listen online at vintage931.com or on your smartphone with the free Vintage Sound app. Let's start the show.
All right, ladies and gentlemen, it is go time, baby. That's my excited sports voice. I think it was pretty good. This is what it's all about. Friday night, tomorrow, football. Muskies are ready to kick off district play against Bettendorf. Why, Coach Mueller, couldn't have opened up against? I don't know. I don't want to say anybody else is not as good as Bettendorf, but district first game, Bettendorf at Bettendorf, and it's their homecoming. Jeez, it's just like a perfect storm that the Muskies are going to go into and come away with a victory, though.
That's the plan.
That's what's going to happen.
That is the plan.
You're going to spoil homecoming. You know what I want? I want sad Bulldogs at their dance.
Yeah, that would be a lot of fun. You got to play them sometime. So
yeah.
Whether it's the first game or the fifth game of districts, you got to play them sometime, and we are excited to go there and play a very good team.
It's so crazy to think that district play starts tomorrow. So before we tackle the Bulldogs head on, last week you go to North Scott. Very exciting game to listen to on the radio. North Scott, an old MAC foe. As you look at film and reflect on that game, which did end in a victory for the Muskies, some takeaways or some adjustments that you've made without, again, giving away secrets.
Sure.
What was practice like this week after that game?
Practice was very focused, very. I would say that probably the intensity level was raised quite a bit, and less has to do with how we played against North Scott, and more of who's coming and the importance of this week. But looking back to North Scott, I think there's definitely some positives and negatives that we look at. Positives are we go to North Scott. It's always a tough place to play in Eldridge. We've never really played well there consistently, and we get a win. By two touchdowns, I guess 17 points, and generally we came out of it healthy, which is what you want.
Nice.
A couple bumps and bruises and whatnot, but nothing significant. But at the same token, there's a lot of things we didn't do well. We weren't as disciplined as I would have liked to have seen. We had a lot of penalties. It was the chippiest game we've ever played in that I can remember. I don't ever remember playing a game where it's just been. It was just a lot of stuff that didn't need to happen during the game. North Scott had more penalties than we did. They had, I think, 5 or 6 personal fouls.
Holy cow.
So it just, it is what it is, but I felt like we could have handled it better than what we did.
Sure.
And so, it's my responsibility to make sure that we do a better job next time.
So you say practice has been intense. Does that stem from some captains and guys on the team that are trying to make sure that everybody else – because as coaches, you can motivate, but it really helps when you have those vocal leaders that can be your ally as you get ready to open up district play against a tough opponent.
Yeah, it does help. And you have to have vocal leaders who the kids respect that are willing to do it and say it. Like, you can't just be somebody that's going to talk and not put your best foot forward. And so we're fortunate we've got guys that are doing those things. And, our coaches have ramped up the intensity a little bit as well this week because the stakes are higher. The competition increases a ton. And, we play our biggest game of the season this week, tomorrow night, and it's the most talented team I think that is on our schedule.
It's going to be huge. I mean, this is a Bettendorf team, and you were telling me off the air that has been tested on the road, and they've faced unbelievable opponents. So they certainly have taken their licks, but learned a lot, I'm sure. And the way that the district has changed things, you could theoretically afford to lose one game. Of course, you don't want to lose any, but, I mean, they're only taking 2 teams from the district, correct?
Correct.
Okay.
Yeah, of the 6 teams, they take 2. So, the margin for error is very slim.
Right. So that's something else to keep in mind, and disciplined on the field in every aspect. I mean, perfect scenario, things will go well and you'll win, but even the smallest things, right? Like kickoffs and punt coverage and extra points and field. So how in a week are you able And maybe maybe you're stronger in places. So does that give you an opportunity to focus on areas because you want to make sure that every kickoff they don't take 40 yards, right?
Mm-hmm. Yeah, and I think it's not just this week that we're focusing on those things.
Mm-hmm.
We've been focusing on all aspects of our game. Since we've been going, it's just you want to make sure that your team understands that when you do play talented teams, well-coached teams, good teams with a great program, like every little thing matters.
Yeah.
Every little thing does matter, and small mistakes when you have against maybe lesser opponents, you can get away with them and be okay. But against teams that are talented and traditionally are good teams, they take advantage of those things, and so your small mistakes turn into big ones if you don't take care of it.
Bettendorf, certainly a program that you have to be concerned, and of course you don't want to turn the ball over ever. But that's a program you turn the ball over, they're probably going to get something out of it.
Yeah, usually, they're like I mentioned, they're really, really talented. They've got talent all over the field, and they've got weapons to move the ball and score touchdowns, and so they generally make people pay if they turn the ball over.
Yeah, which again you never want to do, but That's a team, like you're saying. This is a team that will look for small mistakes and put it to their advantage. We're going to take a quick break. We'll keep talking Bettendorf tomorrow, first game of the district, and then we'll look ahead briefly because homecoming for Muscatine is next week. You're listening to First National Bank Coach's Corner with Muskie head football coach Jake Mueller. Hang on.
This summer is a perfect time to save money by refinancing your mortgage. Hear why Lori and Cliff Lampier chose to refinance their home with First National Bank.
We have lived here for 14 years and refinanced with First National Bank because of the interest rates, the people that we know at the bank. They're friendly, helpful, and it's pretty much effortless on our part.
When you're ready to refinance your home, see the new real estate team at First National Bank. Member FDIC, Equal Housing Lender.
You're listening to First National Bank's Coach's Corner on Vintage Sound 93.1.
Just like that, we're back. It's Tony Tone with Muskie head football coach Jake Mueller. District play tomorrow. First game, Bettendorf welcoming Muscatine. It's homecoming for Bettendorf. And this Bulldog squad has some talent and some athletes that will play at the next level. But so do the Muskies. And someone said to me last week, they said, I like listening to when coach is on. You spend a lot of time talking about the opponent. Can you brag on the Muskies? Well, I think that you and I both know, you obviously more than me, you have a great group of kids and a very talented squad. And my thing is just, I want to talk about the opponent because I know how good your team is. But let's brag on the Muskies for a minute.
Okay.
So let's talk about maybe some things that have surprised you so far in the season. And it doesn't have to be individual players, or it could be, but some moments that you thought, wow, that is exactly how I wanted this situation to go.
I think defensively, I feel like we've really stepped up our level of play this season. I feel like there's some kids that have really taken a big step forward from last year to this year. And, you look at just the last couple weeks, North Scott, Pleasant Valley, both teams that are difficult to prepare for, good offenses, and we've given up 13 points to each of them.
Wow.
And, week one against Kennedy, very physical team, wanted to run the ball. We didn't really we didn't give up a whole lot. And so, really proud of the way the defense has started the year. And it's because we've had kids who were on the field last year that were just kind of role players, step up, and now are impact guys. And then we also have kids that were good last year that are even better this year.
Right, yeah.
And so that has helped us step up quite a bit on the defensive side of the football. It's
so nice, isn't it, to see somebody, because you could probably see that glimmer last season of potential greatness or just that raw talent that just maybe needed a little bit more muscle mass or to learn some routines better. And now watching it happen, is that one of the best parts of coaching? Because you saw it, you don't doubt yourself because coaches are like that. You can see the talent, you know how you can help shape them to get to where they can be, and then when it happens, I mean, it's not like you pat yourself on the back, but kind of like a rewarding feeling, right?
Yeah, it's very rewarding to see when you invest time in kids and they match that with the work ethic and the attitude and effort that you're looking for, and then to see good things happen because of it, that's really what it's all about. And so, there's several guys on our team who, have really done a great job of putting themselves in position.
Sure.
Just a couple names off the top of my head to think about are somebody like a Joe Bartling, who is, 5'8", barely 200 pounds maybe, who's playing defensive line for us, and he's going against guys that, are 70, 80 pounds heavier than him each week. And he's been all in our program ever since day one, and he's a perfect example to younger kids as far as do what your coaches tell you to do, do it the very best, and you're going to have good things happen. And he plays a position that doesn't get a whole lot of glory because a lot of times he's taking on blocks so that other guys can make the tackles,
right.
and Joe is perfectly fine with that.
Yeah.
And so he kind of epitomizes what our team's all about, And then, on the flip side, so Joe's a guy who isn't starting until his senior year, didn't start last year.
Sure.
And then on the other side, you got a kid like David Summers. This is his third year as a starter. David is kind of the same way. He's improved every year. He's gotten better and better, and he doesn't have an off button. Like every time David's on the field, it's sweating, getting after it, intense, focused,
playing both sides of the ball, right?
Yeah. And and so you have a guy like him who sometimes those type of kids who start as a sophomore, they get complacent. They get okay with kind of being where they're at. That's never been him. And so when you have, a guy like that as a leader on your team, that raises everybody's level of effort because he won't let it not. You can't be on that defense when he's out there because he won't let you. And so, those two guys right there are kind of the both ends of the spectrum where Joe's kind of worked at it until he's, now he's a key guy, and David's been there since day one, but has improved.
Yeah.
And so, when you're a leading tackler on a team as a sophomore, some people might be like, oh, I'm good enough.
Sure.
But David's never been that way. So
it's so good for like the juniors too that'll come back having played alongside both of those two, just for examples, because man, that's that just raises every practice's level of intensity, and then game time, because the last thing you want to do is have that moment, and I think we've all had it, where that teammate that has that on switch that seems to be stuck will get in your face and give you that little tap on the helmet.
Yeah.
It's necessary.
Absolutely it is.
And then all you can do is absorb that. And sometimes, that amount of energy, it can be contagious in the best way.
Yeah, it is. And it's not always comfortable.
Right. Oh, sure.
But I've coached teams where you don't have that guy,
and
you're looking for him. And you never quite get to the level you want to because, and he's not the only one. We got other kids that are doing the same stuff. You look at a kid like Derek Webking. We've played him at 4 or 5 different positions.
Wow,
he's one of the smartest kids I've ever coached, and he knows everything, how to get lined up, how to get everybody else lined up, and he's a guy just. Wherever you put him, he's going to get the job done.
Oh, it's so good to hear that. All right, listen, next week is homecoming. There's going to be a lot of emotions for seniors and keeping that all in check while preparing for your opponent and practicing. We'll talk more about that next week. I don't even want to think about it.
I don't either. I don't either.
Because it is a different week, isn't it? Whether you want it to or not, it is a little bit different.
Yeah, we can talk about homecoming next week.
Yeah, perfect. All right, first things first, Bettendorf tomorrow. At Bettendorf, it is homecoming for the Bulldogs, Muskies on the road. You can listen to the game on our sister station. That's KWPC AM 860 FM 95.1. The voice of Muscatine, Brian Musell, and Jim Mueller will have coverage. Good luck, Coach.
Thank you.
Appreciate you coming in, and I think the Muskies are going to go to Bettendorf and take a win out of there. A much-deserved victory, by the way. This is a very talented group of Muskies. If you can't make it to the game, listen to it on the radio.